Hello, and welcome to Wealth is Possible, the show where we talk about personal finance and building wealth. We are your hosts, Vino, Vince, and Evan. We'll be discussing various methods of building wealth and growing your cash flow, including the stock market, real estate, cryptocurrency, and various business ventures. All right, guys, welcome back to Wealth is Possible. Thank you for joining us. We got myself, Vino, here.
Mm-hmm.
We got my boy, Heaven, here.
Yes, that is I.
And we got my next boy, Vince, here.
My next one. Yeah.
And today we're going to be talking about a very, very important topic in today's world, cryptocurrencies.
Woo!
All right, guys.
I've been waiting for this one.
Oh, yeah.
So this is going to be a two-part series. In this first episode, we're going to be talking about what is a cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
We'll do a little bit of discussion on that. Then we're going to move into the world's biggest cryptocurrency, which is Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
I heard of that one.
Is that the first cryptocurrency ever created? That one?
That was the first one.
Oh,
Yes.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
Right? So then after that, we're going to move into some big milestones for Bitcoin. That'll be the end of this episode. Next episode, we'll jump into Ethereum. We'll jump into a little bit about, the world views on crypto as well in that second episode.
Yo, this episode's going to be way too
All
fire.
right,
I'm too excited for this one.
So
I'm getting the chills and shit. Oh, my gosh.
Perfect. All right, guys. So what is a cryptocurrency, right? A cryptocurrency is a digital or virtual currency that is secured by cryptography, which makes it nearly impossible to counterfeit or double spend. Many cryptocurrencies are decentralized networks based on blockchain technology. So there's two terms in there that, people might not understand. First one's decentralized, right? What does decentralized mean? Do you guys want to go at that or?
Yeah, you want to go first?
You go first.
Yeah,
You go first.
So decentralized. So a lot of our current institutions are centralized, like banks and everything.
Yes.
Right. So there's somebody that I want to say that's somebody that is in charge of it, or an organization that's in charge of it, like the Federal Reserve.
Exactly.
So that means it's centralized. This is what I think the definition is. Decentralized means that it's owned by no sole entity.
Yes.
It's kind of like I think the creator of Bitcoin already passed away, Satoshi Nakamoto.
Well, no.
Allegedly?
Allegedly, yeah. Nobody
We
knows.
don't know.
Yeah,
He
allegedly.
fell off.
Yeah.
He fell off the face of the earth in terms of action, right? People can see what he did with his wallet and his address, but nobody knows who he is or where he went. He could be dead. He could be alive. Nobody knows.
What did they do?
Nobody knows who he is either. So decentralized, exactly. It means that there is no central authority that is controlling or manipulating whether it's a currency or a network or platform, right?
Yeah.
So
it's pretty much it's made by the people and run by the people, and it's for the people.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
And I love it. A lot of people are just now understanding that everything was centralized and that there's a whole option that things can be just decentralized now with cryptocurrencies, right? So that's that first term in that sentence that I want to go over. The second one is blockchain technology, right? What is blockchain technology? It's basically exactly what the word implies. It is a chain of blocks, and these blocks are basically digital blocks of data, whether it's transaction data or app data or whatever it is. It's data that is built in blocks. We can go on and get into it, but that's just the gist of
The
it
rough
there, right?
gist,
Yeah. So now, when we look at cryptocurrencies, there's tons of them. There's hundreds, maybe thousands even, right? We're mainly only going to be talking about Bitcoin and Ethereum in these first two episodes. We might go into some other altcoins later on in some different episodes, but for this episode, mainly just going to be Bitcoin and Ethereum, right?
Yep.
So let's look at Bitcoin now, right? Bitcoin was launched on January 3rd, 2009 by Satoshi Nakamoto. And we've never really heard of him after that. Most likely due to the fact that the world's governments and the central banks were not happy with the creation of such a technology.
I like how, it happened to be in 2009 he launched it.
Why?
Yeah.
What's
The housing crisis, right?
2008, the housing crisis, no?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, it's right after,
It's
right?
right after, right?
Okay.
The banks all are to blame for the housing crisis.
100%. There's
And-
multiple moving parts, but I think
Yeah.
banks are pretty big in there.
They're
as well.
big.
It's very hard to say when this person started planning.
But it's
Yeah.
ironic.
Yeah, it's
ironic
ironic.
that it didn't happen way before.
Yeah.
Or it didn't happen recently.
Because
it was right
before that, people
time.
would usually say that the one of the best asset classes was real estate. So it makes sense why they're going into the digital platform, because real estate wasn't as well. It is still reliable on a long-term spectrum, but I think in that point, a lot of people were in fear and all that stuff. Maybe he started making it to kind of
most likely, like cryptocurrencies were actually started off. If I'm not mistaken, around 1998, the talks about it and
Web 3.0.
Yeah, back then it was already kind of in talks, and people probably started working on that technology even back then, right? So we don't really know when Satoshi started working on this project, but it was released 2009.
Yeah, so I'm assuming that he didn't just wake up on January 1st and be like, oh, my New Year's resolution is to make a new thing called cryptocurrency, right? And then like on January 9th.
This is like life goals type of thing. He changed the world with this creation.
But I feel like he didn't even know what he was creating when he made the coin.
It's hard to say. I mean, it could be someone that knew exactly what he was making, knew exactly how it would change the face of the earth. Or it could have been someone that said, I know what this technology is, but let's see what happens.
So he was definitely in his infinite intelligence, and he definitely conducted God's work through.
For sure, I'm definitely happy this technology came 100%,
out. Me too.
And over here on this channel, we want to show you guys that it's not scary. It can be good. It can be helpful, right?
It's actually like an opportunity. Like I look into it as if it's like it is an opportunity, right? And like I think like not a lot of people, like it's kind of like the new age .com boom for our generation, but I feel like a lot more people can be involved now because we have. The last major tech was the .com boom. So now that we have the internet, now more people have access to learning about Web 3.0.
And people fear what they don't know, right?
Exactly.
So we want to make sure so you don't fear.
Exactly. Like and like a lot of people, like they became like multimillionaires, maybe even billionaires off investing into the internet, like the .com boom when it initially started. But that was we're in Canada in January 2022. So I want to say I was a small fringe minority that was invested in that. But I think now because of I think now that we have the internet and more people can access this information, I feel like the wealth distribution and the wealth change that's going to happen for the next generation is going to be a lot larger because a lot more people who can access about cryptocurrency, and just like how you listener right now learning about cryptocurrency in your car or in your house or in the bedroom or in the bathroom,
wherever you are,
in your amma's house or your appa's house,
Trust me, guys, right? So now moving on. So Bitcoin is a decentralized peer-to-peer payment network that is powered by its users with no central authority or middlemen. It is open source, which means anyone can access the network and build on it and take part in it. And it is also permissionless, which means unlike a bank where you need to go and apply and they tell you if you can have a bank account or not, anybody can use Bitcoin. You got a phone, you got data, Wi-Fi, whatever. You can access.
I think that's super important. And that's a really good way to put it.
The accessibility with the accessibility with crypto is just really big.
Exactly.
It's
permissionless.
It's
right?
permissionless. Exactly.
Yeah, and that is huge. And it's good because it allows so many people that didn't have these kind of services before to now have these services.
Yes.
Right?
It makes in a sense, I would say it's even like a lot easier too. And I think like getting away from the traditional brick and mortar banking systems, like from like what is it, like 7 a.m. or like whatever the banking are, like it's 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Like I think it's really stupid to not be able to do your banking after 5 p.m. It makes no sense.
Exactly. This is 24/7.
100%. 100%. Like I actually have a personal experience. Like I remember
I know about this.
There's a recent time that I needed like some money and like I had to go into my investments. I was trying to sell my stocks and stuff to pull out some money, but because of the whole banking system and how the banking system works, I wouldn't have got my money until like 2, 3, 4 days after, right? But I was able to just literally just go open my crypto profile and
this is the middle of the night.
It's the middle of the night, and this is something that in my crypto I wasn't even that serious about. I just bought it and I just bought it and put it away, just because I heard that it's good to invest. And I think it was Vino, one of the main mans who showed me crypto. I'd had some money in Bitcoin and Ethereum, and because the middle of the night on a weekend, I sold my some of my Ethereum. I know I shouldn't have sold, but I needed the money. Exactly. I sold my Ethereum, and within 1 hour, I got an e-transfer because I use ShakePay. I went within one.
Shout out to ShakePay.
Shout out to ShakePay. We'll probably put a link down below. I literally sold my ShakePay, and I got an e-transfer sent to my account within the hour. If I didn't have crypto at that very moment on that weekend, if I had to rely on the traditional banking system to wait for them to open up on Monday at 9 a.m., I would have been completely fucked right now.
Oh yeah.
One of the big advantages of crypto that people talk about. I don't know if you're going to get into it, but it's the ability for how quickly you can transfer money, right?
Yes.
Instead of like, from transferring around the world, instead of taking like, weeks or days or whatever, like you could do it within an hour, within a few minutes,
within an instant, right? And not only that, it's also with the low transaction fees that comes with.
Yes.
Exactly.
You try to send $50, like just not too far away, you already have 5
internationally. Yeah. You have to pay the wire
and you can do it with what's just in your pocket. You pull out your phone and you do it. That's it. You're not walking into any institution.
Exactly. You don't have to wait for them to open up at 9 a.m. and all that stuff.
Yeah. So the fees are super low. People love that. Right?
Yeah. There's no monthly reoccurring fees and stuff that I'm aware of.
There's actually something I was going to go into later. I might as well bring it up now. There was actually transactions that have been recorded and seen of more like multiple billions of dollars that have been transacted and moved over cryptocurrency. 100%. And the transaction fee was like less than $1.
100%. And the mainstream media is going to make you think that that's all like fraud money and all this and that. But fraud is the mainstream media is pushing it as if like fraud is only being conducted through Bitcoin and like whatever. But guys, fraud has been happening with fiat currency too, with dollars. And there's a lot more dollars and fake dollars that are made by. Why do you think there's counterfeit dollars?
Exactly.
Like you have counterfeit dollars. Why do you think when you go and buy like Kush or when you go and buy like whatever narcotics you choose, are you buying it in Bitcoin? Are you buying it in Ethereum? Or are you buying it in cash?
That's the thing, right? Like when cryptocurrencies came out, one of the ways the governments and people at high levels wanted to kind of bring that fear on it was showing people that it was mainly used for these illegal activities. And
we'll get into a little bit more of this, I guess, like either later in this episode or down the future
next
too.
Episode,
We'll get into why
that has to do with FUD, right?
That's where you're gonna go with the FUD.
So I don't even know what FUD means.
Exactly.
So you got to tune in next week to find out what FUD means. Exactly.
Okay, so let's move on here. Next thing here. Bitcoin is considered by many institutions and companies as digital gold, as it has a similar economic profile to gold, namely its slow and steady issuance and max supply. Right? So these days, a lot of big institutions, they look at Bitcoin like digital gold. Why? It's because it has a max supply.
It's a finite source.
It's a finite source, right? Finite supply. And there's very few assets that can kind of, say that, right? Gold is one of the few, and that's why gold has been around for so many years as one of the biggest assets to kind of store your value, right? So now Bitcoin is kind of coming up there and taking that, taking some of that market share from gold slowly, right? So, when you look at Bitcoin, right, you look at the max supply. A lot of people don't know that there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoins in production, in supply.
Ever.
In the code for Bitcoin, there's only ever going to be 21
And they're never going to print more Bitcoin on the low and like not tell you about it. There's no Federal Reserve.
Exactly. And at this point, there's about just approaching 19 million Bitcoins that have been minted and mined. Right, and the way Bitcoin is mined also has another feature that's very special to it, and it's called the halving. Right, so when you look at that, what is the halving? The halving is basically when Bitcoin was first created and launched. It was on January 3rd, 2009. The first halving event that took place was 4 years later. The halving events take place every 4 years. And what happens on this halving event every 4 years is that the block reward gets cut in half. So what that ends up meaning is that the daily supply is cut in half. So that's a very crazy feature to this cryptocurrency.
Okay, so the daily supply. So you're saying there every day there's a in the year there is a supply of Bitcoin that are being created.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That are
being mined. Yeah.
They're being
mined. Yes.
Right. So when you're saying the block is cut in half, so say hypothetically, let's just say there's 4 Bitcoin being created every single day, and
I'll tell you the exact numbers, right?
Okay, sure.
So the last halving that took place was actually 2 years ago, March 2020. And this was the third halving since its inception. And what happened is that before the halving, there's 12.5 Bitcoins rewarded every single day and brought into the daily circulation supply. After that halving event, it got sliced in half, like I said, and now the daily supply that's coming in is 6.25.
Would that be one of the reasons why mining for Bitcoin isn't profitable anymore?
So that's a whole nother thing. What that has to do with is, yes, obviously that is part of it. As the halving occurs, you're putting in the same amount of work and costs, and you're spending the same amount of money.
And you're getting half the Bitcoin. So imagine mining for Bitcoin back in the day.
But at the same time, the value of each Bitcoin is also growing, you can say, at an exponential rate. Yeah. So there's still a lot of people that are mining, even though the difficulty is getting harder.
Yes.
The block rewards are getting lower
less.
and lower.
Yes.
The supply is getting lower and lower. There's still a lot of people around the world, big institutions and corporations that are building huge mining farms and investing in it.
You're just kind of hedging on the equity that's going to come out of the Bitcoin in the future, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So once they get that Bitcoin, they have the option when to sell it. They can hold it. They can sell it right now if they need the money. They can hold it down until the value grows. They can sell it.
They could probably even lend against it and stuff, like how BlockFi.
Exactly.
There's actually another interest providing platform other than BlockFi that I came across, but I forgot the name of it.
I think it's Celsius.
I don't know.
There's a lot, bro. There's
a couple. At least a couple.
Kevin O'Leary came out with WonderFi too, and it's not active in Ontario yet. Yeah. But they just launched like a couple days ago in Canada.
Okay.
The rest of Canada outside of Ontario, because the regulations and blah blah blah. Yeah. But like it's you can it's the same thing as what you do with BlockFi, but you better perks. You can buy crypto within it. You can lend crypto within it. You can get a loan. You can stake it. You can do all within one platform. Which is Ontario. I think they're working on the regulations. But there's bare people basically copying that shit. But Kevin O'Leary is trying to make it so that this is the platform that institutions are okay with. Institutions are not okay with all the other like BlockFis and stuff because of the regulations. It has to be it has to be up to like the regulation, otherwise institutions aren't going to come in. Right. And Kevin O'Leary wants the big money.
Of course.
You
know what I mean? So
if
like
Kevin O'Leary's coming in the game, I would watch what he's doing.
Yeah. And for those of you that don't know who Kevin O'Leary is, he's a multi-millionaire. I unfortunately thought he was a billionaire, but he's a couple hundred.
He's definitely trying to get there, especially with all these moves, right?
100%.
So yeah, there's tons of platforms that do offer that service, right?
Yeah. I'm gonna actually interrupt you right here because this is such an amazing episode. I'm having a lot of fun so far, and I hope the listeners having a lot of fun too. If you guys are out there, make sure you guys do like the video if you're watching it on YouTube. Leave a comment down below if you guys like it. If you guys don't like it, leave a comment down below. If you want us to talk about something or repeat something that we mentioned throughout the podcast, if you guys need some more understanding or clearance, just leave a comment down below. We'll make some videos on that.
Follow the podcast on Spotify.
Follow the podcast.
Exactly.
Please.
You can download the episode on Spotify, Apple Music. That way you guys can listen to it on the way home, from work, to work, back from work,
without using data.
So make sure you guys check us out. All the links are down below, and
new episodes every other Thursday.
Oh yes. New episodes every other Thursday, and the week after, what else do we drop? We drop another video.
We got videos going on YouTube basically every week.
We're out here, bro. We're out here. We're doing it up. So make sure you guys do share it.
Hope you guys are enjoying.
You guys are enjoying it, and thank you. Thank you for listening.
So now going on, the next thing I want to talk about is there's a lot of facts about Bitcoin that people hear and they're like, this can't be true. Right. And one of these facts is Bitcoin is literally the most secure computer network in the world.
Yeah.
Right. To this day. Right. It has never been hacked. Yet there's huge companies that have been hacked. Apple, AT&T, CIA, even the NSA has been hacked. The NSA got hacked and the hackers stole their hacking software.
My gosh.
So, so everything can be hacked, it seems but Bitcoin has still never been hacked. It's a topic that a lot of people talk about. Technically, it's possible based on the technicals of it.
If somebody somebody beats you up and they're like, yo, send me your Bitcoin coin right now, we're gonna beat you up.
Not really. That's not really.
No, but like at the same time, like the people who are hacking all these, databases or whatnot, like Bitcoin is kind of the opposite of what all these platforms are, right? Because it's decentralized. So these people that are hacking are kind of more for Bitcoin, so why would they want to take it down?
Well,
right?
I mean, the reason they would want to take it down is we literally have an asset that's on an open platform network that has close to $1 trillion sitting on it with basically no defense and still never been hacked. still never been hacked, right?
That's pretty fried.
So technically, some people say when these supercomputers come and stuff, it's gonna get hacked. Who knows at this point? At that point,
but we'll
probably
on
also
this channel,
be dead by Terminators
on this show,
right?
We have full transparency, right? We're not just saying Bitcoin is perfect.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes. We're showing you all the facts about it, right?
Like for example, you buy a house, right? Just say your water broke, or like one of your pipes broke and it deteriorated through your floor, to the other floor, to the other floor. Now you had to drop probably like 25, 30 racks to repair it.
Yeah.
Does that mean real estate's a scam?
Exactly.
Everything has flaws, right?
Everything has flaws. That's a good way to look at it. That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
In terms of like the whole hacking thing, the way that works is that for Bitcoin to get hacked, they call it a 51% attack. There would need to be a 51% attack on Bitcoin. What that means is that they would need to have control of about 51%
of the supply.
Of not the supply, but the miners and all the nodes that are creating that hash
to
power
shut it down.
If they shut 51% of it down, technically it can be hacked.
Wow.
Recently a lot of the miners that were in China got banned down there and they had to move to other parts of the world. Now what that means is that it was actually a good thing, because technically before, when all of these miners and nodes were in China, they kind of had power. They had an ability to mess with that and kind of shut it down that way. Now that they left China doesn't have that power to
so you're saying a lot of the hackers are from China?
I'm not trying to say that hackers were from China, but China implementing that ban and bringing the miners out of their country and away from their powers, it was a good thing in general for Bitcoin, right? That was kind of a milestone as well when that happened.
Okay. Do you know if the value increased after that moment?
100%. Since that time, I'm pretty sure it has increased.
Oh no,
100%.
100%.
You're saying not the value didn't go up 100%, but 100%.
No,
I
mean like immediately when that news got released.
Yeah.
Like immediately after that news got released, how like after specific news headlines, just headlines, but nobody reads the article anymore. Just headlines. After specific headlines released, like do you think like sometimes the Bitcoin price will drop, sometimes the Bitcoin price will go up. Do you think when that happened, you think the average Bitcoin investor bought more Bitcoin?
I mean, it's one of those facts that like a lot of people probably didn't really put together and say, okay, so now China's banning it.
Mark Moss probably made a video on this, right?
Yeah, right. Like a lot of people might not have looked at it that way. I watched a couple of videos and kind of saw that perspective. A lot of people might have looked at that time when China banning it and actually thought it was a bearish kind of catalyst, right?
Yeah.
But it was both at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So moving onwards, Bitcoin has tens of thousands of nodes around the world that are constantly double checking transactions. Bitcoin also has millions of mining machines that are providing an unbreachable line of defense. So that goes back to its security and why it's the most secure network in the world, right? There's so many moving parts and there's so many people that are keeping the system and the network of Bitcoin up and strong, right? A lot of people are supporting the network.
It's the people's currency.
It is the people's currency. A lot of people believe in it. A lot of people are pushing for Bitcoin to be legal tender in countries, right? I'll go into how one of the countries.
I think Venezuela.
On that topic, you want to list off some people that people might know that are really bullish on Bitcoin and hold a lot of Bitcoin?
One of the biggest that people might know is actually Chamath.
Okay.
Chamath, right? Yeah. Back in the days, he bought. Let me see here. I think it was 1 million Bitcoins.
That's insane.
When Bitcoin was $80.
Wow.
I don't know how many.
At one point, he said he had 5% of all the Bitcoin in the world. At one point.
So did he sell?
Which makes sense, because if you bought 1 million Bitcoin at that time, there was maybe 16 million or 15 million Bitcoin in circulation. If you bought 1 million,
so he didn't sell. He probably just more Bitcoin came into production.
He transferred it. He basically bought a company, and he essentially paid for it with all. He gave them access to all the Bitcoin to use it as working capital.
Wow.
So technically it doesn't belong to him.
Socialist company.
Social capital. Within social capital, he bought another company. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
But he owns the company.
Okay.
And that company has the Bitcoin to use to run operations.
Wow.
Okay. Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he doesn't actually.
So is that company like super volatile and shit?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah. So all that Bitcoin is with that company. Yeah.
They
probably have like some sort of like, obviously they probably have some sort of like probably like cap and stuff that they can pull out. I don't think they can pull out the whole.
Yeah, I mean he probably has his own
metrics and shit.
So what are some what are some other names? Who else?
Like Kevin mentioned, Michael Saylor.
Michael Saylor's a big one. Yeah.
You know, he was one of the first corporate guys. You know, he's a CEO of a company called MicroStrategy. He was one of the big corporate guys, one of the big guys in the institutions that really figured out the power of Bitcoin.
Yep.
And made a big move on it.
Yep.
Right. He put in, it was like around 300 million or something like that into Bitcoin at that time.
Do you know what the Bitcoin value was at the time that he purchased it?
You know what? I'm just gonna do a quick search here, guys.
Yo, in the video we were watching, you know, he said he was buying Bitcoin. He's bought Bitcoin at 10,000 before.
Wow. Okay.
So that's probably recently, right? So,
yeah.
But
200 million. Well, like Bitcoin was around like 10,000 before that last big boom, right?
Yeah. But you know, maybe it got it even before that. Who knows?
Yeah.
So over here it says MicroStrategy said it now holds approximately 122,478 Bitcoin acquired at an average price of $29,861 per coin at an aggregate purchase price of 3.66 billion.
Wow.
So that's how much he holds now. It's worth 3.66 billion. I'm pretty sure that first move he made when he first got in.
Is that him personally? That's MicroStrategy. Do you think Kathy Wood has more?
I'm not sure. She's the head of ARK Investments.
She's a huge on Bitcoin.
She's also another big name, right?
I think another one is Lynn Alden. Have you guys heard of her?
Alden, no.
Who's that?
She's like an Asian girl. She's like super smart, mad smart girl.
I might have seen some interviews.
Lynn Alden, yeah. You 100%. When you see her or if you hear her, you'll know.
Okay.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
So that's another big name. You know, even Elon Musk.
Here and there. He's not really a Bitcoin maximalist. But
but you know,
Max Kaiser. He's a Bitcoin
Max Kaiser. Yes, that's another one.
Elon Musk. I'm pretty sure everybody who's listening to this
Elon Musk. What's my boy?
Yeah, everybody knows him.
Another thing that I want to touch upon again is the halving event, right? So the fact that Bitcoin has this feature in its code, it's very powerful, right? Because think about it like this: the demand for Bitcoin is steadily going up. Institutions all around the world, people all around the world, governments all around the world are buying it at huge high rates. Now think about, at the same time that the demand is exponentially growing, the supply is getting cut in half.
Wow.
Every 4 years.
That's crazy.
Right? When I first learned that and it really clicked, I was like,
you're
wow,
sold.
this is amazing.
Yeah.
Right? I was super bullish at that point. There's obviously still so much other things to buying into an asset that you want to look into, but just that one feature alone made me very bullish on it. Right? So I just wanted to touch upon that. How do you guys feel about that halving event there?
I kind of liken it to the real estate market in the GTA, right? Like, you know, it's getting more and more finite. Like it's getting, you know, there's less and less properties available, and the demand is just getting higher and higher because more and more people are coming here, right? It's very similar to that.
And that's why you're seeing a lot of tear down rebuilds and stuff too. You know, so
like that's like the most relatable example that everyone's gonna understand.
Because there's a finite source, right? You have the Canadian shield too, so you can't really develop too far.
Except like, you know, the mainstream media wants you to fear of the volatility of Bitcoin, of course, right?
Yeah, no shit.
Right? But you know, the concept is the same. It's the same thing it has going for it as the real estate market in
high demand.
Toronto.
You know, it's good for the price.
Right? If you really look into it, mainstream media and the governments don't want you to be rich. If you really look at
that's a whole
different podcast.
Whole other episode.
That's a whole
if you look into it,
we go down that rabbit hole.
You might have heard DJ Khaled, you know, say they don't want you to be rich, right?
They don't want to have a bigger pool than Kanye.
Exactly, right? So I wonder who he's talking about when he says they. Right?
The institutions.
So another factor I wanted to get into: how many Bitcoins are mined daily? It is estimated at this point 900 new Bitcoins are mined per day. On average, 144 blocks are mined daily, and each block contains 6.25 Bitcoins.
Yeah. So for the time of recording, we're looking at today's Sunday, January 30th, 2022.
Yeah. So this is after that third halving that took place March 2020. Each block reward now offers only 6.25 Bitcoins to the miners, and there's about 144 blocks that are mined daily by all the miners in total, which when you add that up, 144 times 6.25, it adds up to about 900 Bitcoin coming into the daily supply. So the next topic that I want to get into is performance. Bitcoin has literally been the best performing asset for the past decade, right? It's been out for about 13 to 14 years, and it's been the best performing asset for the last decade. This is, better than Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, beat all of those.
Better than real estate?
Better than real estate too, bro. Right? So, Bitcoin has had a 196.4% compound annual growth rate.
Wow.
So people say 200% is really like 190, like 6.4 or something like that. 200% compound annual growth rate, right? What that means is that in 10 years, it's gone up like 10,000% or something. But when you look at it over the 10 years per year,
200% a year, which is 3 times your money every year.
Yeah,
you're tripling your money every single year.
It's averaging out to a year 200%, which is 3 times.
3 times your money every single year for 10 years.
Right?
Wow. So imagine like you have $1,000, right? So with $1,000, you triple it every year. Whatever.
But at the same time, that doesn't mean that if you buy Bitcoin in a year it's gonna triple. It can be down for a whole year, but in that next year
this is an
it
average.
goes up like 10 times.
Yeah,
this is an
averaging
average,
it,
right? You can look at it like that. Yeah. Right? These properties and fundamentals make Bitcoin unique among all cryptocurrencies, and there aren't any that come close to providing the same store of value properties, and few, if any, that provide the same degree of security. In other words, Bitcoin has no competition and is the undisputed king of crypto.
Yep.
That's why it has the biggest market cap, the biggest dominance. That's why it hit $1 trillion market cap.
That's crazy,
right?
How many assets in the world have $1 trillion market cap, right?
Exactly.
There's Apple.
I think two. I think Amazon
Microsoft,
is now on that list now.
It's like Microsoft, Apple.
I think Amazon did hit it at its peak too.
And Bitcoin. There's like four different.
It's like 4, right? So
Facebook's getting there, but
for Bitcoin to do it,
you mean Meta?
Exactly.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook.
We got a Karen over here. After seeing all these facts, I hope you guys can see how powerful Bitcoin is.
Yep.
There's so much more to it, right? There's many more fundamentals and facts that I haven't gone over, but I hope you guys can see how powerful of a technology and how powerful of an asset Bitcoin is.
Yes.
We can literally go on for hours and hours, but I'm not gonna go through.
We don't want to waste anybody's time. We want to get straight to the point.
Yeah.
Right.
But pretty much. Long story short, Bitcoin is not a scam. But the guy messaging you on Instagram, being like, "Yo, bro, turn your $300 into $3,000." That guy's a scam.
That guy's a scam.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well put.
Right. When it's not financial advice, but I love Bitcoin. I invest in Bitcoin.
I love Bitcoin too.
So do I.
I mean, if Bitcoin went to 0, I'm not gonna cry because I only invest what I can afford to lose.
That's important.
Exactly. Right.
That's like Sex Mill, right?
All right. But
if you have no money that you can afford to lose, you shouldn't be invested.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah. Don't go to work.
Don't put your life savings into Bitcoin.
Don't put your life savings into Bitcoin or into real. Don't put your life savings into anything. Don't put your life. You might be able to get away with real estate, but don't put your life savings into anything.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's because Bitcoin's only been around for 13 years.
Exactly.
It's the time, right?
Exactly.
I mean, people need more time to get comfortable with it and trust
what's something realistic that I've heard on different podcasts? It's there's this guy, he's like an actor, I forget his name, but he's like a big advocate for everyday people owning Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
He kind of looks at it like, try to put $5 a day.
Yeah.
$5 a day, it adds up in a year, and that's literally just cutting out like a coffee or latte every single day. And don't think about it, but he's essentially saying, everybody can do that, and you're just dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin.
Wow.
You're not buying everything at once, but you don't want to be left behind 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when everybody owns Bitcoin and your money's worthless, right? Obviously not financial advice, but like there's bare people advocating for people to put a couple dollars in just here and there, average. Like everyone can has like $5 they can afford to lose.
Yeah, because once again,
you can make cuts in all sorts of different expenses in your life.
Because at the end of the day, this is going to be the biggest wealth transfer ever throughout human that's documented throughout human history that's documented is going to be the biggest wealth transfer that's going to take place.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's not financial advice.
There was a saying by Satoshi Nakamoto actually, and he said, you know,
he speaks
just in case it actually hits and pops off, we might want to have some just in case.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So
just in case,
right? So, you know, dollar cost averaging, that's something that I want to touch upon a little as well, right? So what that means is basically just picking a certain amount.
Let's say that again for the beginning, nice and clear.
Yeah.
What is dollar cost averaging?
Dollar cost averaging, sometimes people just say DCA. What that means is you're basically picking a certain amount that you're going to be putting into a certain asset or equity at a certain rate, whether that's a week or a month or 2 months. You don't want it to go really too much over that, because then it takes away from the whole purpose and concept of it, right? So the whole concept is that once you're putting into it every 2 weeks, you might be buying that asset at a high point, you might be buying it at a low point, but when you do this every 2 weeks, by the end of a whole year, you've done better than most traders.
Wow.
Right? So there's actual facts and numbers that I do want to make another video about.
Yeah.
But, you know, important. Dollar cost averaging is very powerful. If you guys want, you guys can search that up. If you guys really want, let us know. We can make a video soon about that.
Do you want to go into the fact that, like, you know, like the whole strategy behind it is essentially, it's pretty simple. It's like, you have your average cost that you're buying Bitcoin at. Say Bitcoin is at 20,000.
Yes.
And you know, you put your $5 in. You know, you put your $5 in. Your average cost is 20,000. If it goes below, you know, it makes sense for you to buy it, because now you're bringing your
purchasing power goes up.
You bring your cost basis down.
Yes.
Right? And you're putting the same amount of money. You're not putting any more money. You're not putting any less money. You're still putting the money you can afford to lose, but you're bringing your average cost down. So you're essentially, your profit is higher when it you know, goes up.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And do you want to explain? I think it's really, really important to explain. I feel like a lot of people think that you have to buy one whole Bitcoin. You know what I mean? Like, you want to explain that it's all fractional and how that works?
Yes. So, you know.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people think
you need to be rich to buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
You can put $1 in Bitcoin.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
So these days with certain stock platforms, you can buy fractional shares. This actually started with cryptocurrencies, right? And you can buy, you know, fractions of the cryptocurrency, right? And whether it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, or other cryptocurrencies, it doesn't matter how much money you have. If you're willing to invest $5, you can buy $5 worth of Bitcoin. It's going to give you like 0.000 or whatever, but you're still able to buy that.
You're still participating in
you're
that
still participating
equity
in
growth
that
there.
asset, and you're in the growth, right? And once that asset BTC grows 200%, your $5 grew 200%.
That's the other cool thing about cryptocurrencies, because it still gives everybody like a fair advantage of getting into the market. And you don't need a set amount to get into the market. Like, for example, like, I don't know what Netflix is at right now, but just say, do you know what Netflix is at right now?
It's like 382 USD.
Okay, so $382. So just say, like, okay, for example, like, Netflix is like a mainstream platform. It's like a mainstream company. A lot of people would trust it because, like, Netflix. They're like, I watch Netflix. Right? So, like, you know, when you buy into the stock market, you might want to buy Netflix, but you're like, but it's like $380 something US.
No. I mean, wasn't as fractional trading and shit, so you could do the same thing.
For which one?
For what?
So,
Netflix. You could buy.
So now platforms
what's a stock doesn't offer fractional shares?
Well, Wealthsimple now offers.
Wealthsimple for anything.
No, the big guys.
Boys.
All the big guys.
Okay, just say for example, just say like another stock.
Just say like, you know, it doesn't exist, and you can't buy fractional shares.
So just say, for example, you can't buy fractional shares. That's how it was for the longest time.
It just recently,
very recent.
Until recently,
it just copied crypto. Right?
Exactly, right? So bro, just say you want to buy Netflix before you can buy fractional shares, you would need like 300 something to get into the market.
Yes.
So that would discourage the average investor. It's certainly discouraged me in the past. Right? Because I'm like, okay, what the hell? I gotta like, I'm gonna buy one stock. How high is it really gonna go?
Yes.
Versus, like, you know, you dollar cost averaging, you can buy into a Bitcoin. I don't know what the price of Bitcoin is right now. I want to say drop right now at the time of the recording, so I want to say maybe like 40. Okay, let's say $40,000 for Bitcoin right now.
It's at about 36,000 USD.
Okay, let's say it's $36,000 USD right now. The average person will look at that and be like, oh, I can't buy I don't have $36,000.
Exactly.
I can just put away into some digital asset. You can literally put 36 cents. And can you put it into 36 cents?
It depends on the platform. I think most platforms still require at least a couple dollars.
Okay, you could literally put $5 and buy into into that crypto.
Yes.
Buy into that Bitcoin, and just say Bitcoin goes up, you still are taking. You still get the same amount of gains that you get as if you were to invest in the whole thing.
To participate.
Exactly. You were able to participate. So your money is working for you versus your money working against you by sitting in your savings account.
Exactly.
And or like, that money, like say you don't want to even touch your, all that money. Say you just don't eat out for one day, right? You just that same. How much do people spend eating out, right? Like fucking, you go out to eat instead of going out to eat, like for like fucking $20. You put that money into Bitcoin, or even split that and dollar cost average. Take that $20 and every week put $5 of that in. Instead of all at once.
Dude, go to Walmart. They have these nice kebabs and shit they have there.
Yeah.
Buy for $10. Eat for like 2-3 days off it, and put that other $10 back into crypto.
Oh yeah. We got strategies over here, guys.
Like it's just there's no real excuse for someone to be like, I can't afford. You know what I mean? Like when you can do it for as little as $1, like people waste money every day.
Don't be the guy who's in the change room when you're 40, 50, and he's like, shit, man, should have gotten into crypto, You don't be that guy. Because there's always an old guy in the change room who's like, I should have got into the dot-com boom back in the day. There's always a guy out there like that. You don't want to be that guy.
You don't want to be that guy.
Nobody likes that guy,
Very true. Very true. All right, guys. So now, now that we've gone into a lot of the key points on Bitcoin, I want to go into major milestones that Bitcoin has gone through, right?
Yeah.
I think you already named a few, but I guess you
these are just a couple of milestones in like the last year and a half-ish, right?
Yeah.
So it's had tons of milestones, but this is just
Bitcoin is still in its infancy.
It's still in its infancy, bro.
So you're gonna see a lot of milestones along the way.
It's like what, 2009 to 2022. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's about
it hasn't even
13 years.
It hasn't even been 20 years yet.
Taking how old Apple is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Apple is even, like Microsoft is older than Apple, right?
Yeah. Right. Taking how old a lot of these older institutions, Microsoft, Apple, all of these institutions are, and they just reached a trillion market cap.
And Bitcoin did in 13 years.
And Bitcoin did in 13 years.
Well, it's funny because the first milestone that I wanted to bring up was Bitcoin surpassed the $1 trillion market value for the first time on February 19th, 2021.
Wow.
Right, so that was a huge milestone. A lot of people thought it could never ever get that high, and it did. Right, so it's still in price discovery mode. It's still being adopted. Most of the world still has no idea what it is. So that's why
we're making this podcast.
Don't feel like it's too late. Yes, that's why. We're just trying to share the knowledge here. We have very powerful assets that we have access to. It would be
on your phone, which you use for other things anyway.
Exactly. Okay, so now the second milestone that I want to go over is Morgan Stanley offered wealthy clients access to Bitcoin funds in March of 2021. Right, so that was a big deal.
Yeah,
right?
I remember when they released that. I think Mark Moss made a video on that. So yeah, whenever you see,
I think not to cut you off, but I think for our Canadian listeners, which is like most people, we want to explain, what Morgan Stanley is.
Yeah.
Right? It sounds like somebody's name,
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the major banks in the U.S., right? So a lot of people, they look at these banks like, whatever they do is...
So that kind of goes into what I was going to say. It's like the credibility factor when you see like these major corporations, major banks and institutions getting into something that was so foreign like Bitcoin, it's kind of like a reassurance that like, okay, if these major brick and mortar institutions are getting into this asset class, maybe there is some sort of legitimacy in this, right? Because now it's not just like, the mainstream media is telling me that this is for fraudsters and people who commit crime, but why are the main institutions getting into it, even though they are just as
why is Kevin O'Leary in Bitcoin?
Yeah, why is Kevin O'Leary? Does he do fraud? Do you think Kevin O'Leary does fraud?
It's
I don't know. I don't think so.
Up to you guys to decide, man.
Yeah. There's a lot of big names, a lot of people, a lot of reputable names that are in crypto right now. I think we're way past the stage where we think crypto is a scam. But crypto is definitely the future, and this is definitely not financial advice.
Oh yeah. Okay, so now this is a big one. El Salvador adopted Bitcoin as legal tender. In June of 2021, El Salvador passed a new law to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender, becoming the first country in the entire world to do so. So that was huge, right? We didn't really have a heads up or anything. When this happened, it was like, wow, that's amazing. The whole world was like, yo, what's going on here? Like, how could they make Bitcoin legal tender. Like, this is just 13 years old. It still has so much volatility. And
that's a very good question. How are they making Bitcoin a valid tender there if it's so volatile? Like, that makes no sense to me.
You know, it's tough because at the end of the day, that whole volatility does bring in a lot of issues.
But I mean, their local currency is very minimal, right?
Exactly.
So Venezuela, which you said, right?
El Salvador.
But did they have the hyperinflation as well? Or was it only Venezuela? Or is Venezuela and El Salvador?
That was Venezuela. I'm pretty sure that you were thinking
Venezuela
about.
has hyperinflation for sure.
But at the end of the day, every country is going through inflation.
Hyperinflation right now. Yeah.
Right? So
you guys can go watch that video right above us right now.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, yes, Bitcoin is volatile. It goes from 60,000 to 35,000 USD. But at the end of the day, generally, it's still going up in value slowly, right? So, I don't know exactly how they're making it happen and how they deal with that volatility. But at the end of the day, they made it a legal tender back a couple of months ago. And there hasn't been any major issues or anything like that. It's been going really well for them.
Definitely want to look into it more. Yeah.
So that was the next fact here. Next milestone, actually. The next one here is the first U.S. futures-based Bitcoin ETF launched in October of 2021. The ProShares futures-based Bitcoin ETF made its market debut on the New York Stock Exchange under the ticker BITO. Right, so Bido. It's kind of like vino, but Bido. So that was big, right? That's an ETF for Bitcoin, but it's kind of futures based. It's not actually buying into Bitcoin. It's buying into the futures, but it's still a big step for Bitcoin, right? The next one here, the price of Bitcoin hit an all-time high. Right, so just after the value of the entire cryptocurrency market surpassed $3 trillion in November, the price of Bitcoin reached a new record. On November 10th, Bitcoin hit an all-time high of over $69,044 USD. Right, so I kind of want to go into this a little bit. Right, so at that time, this was considered a bull market, right? The reason it was considered a bull market because the previous year in May was that third halving event, right? And based on the previous cycles, what we were able to tell is that 12 months to 18 months after a Bitcoin halving, for the past two halvings, they saw a parabolic jump in the price of Bitcoin. Right, so I don't know the exact numbers, but about 12 to 18 months after that last halving, which happened July 9th of 2016, 12 to 18 months was when that 2017 bull run happened, and it went from like a couple $100, $1,000, all the way to $20,000.
Wow.
Right, so that was
in 2019.
That was 2017.
2017,
right? So what happens is 12 to 18 months after a halving, it goes into a crazy bull run and hits a parabolic high. And then basically for the next 2 to 3 years to 4 years until that next halving, there is basically a cold winter, a bear market, right? So there was a bear market. It went to 20,000 and dropped all the way back down to like 3, 4, 5, 6,000 in March of 2020. After that big crash, it went all the way down to like 3,800 USD, and then there was the May 2020 fourth halving event, and a lot of analysts, institutions, big names all around the world were predicting that the price of Bitcoin would be hitting close to $100,000 USD, all the way up to $300,000 USD. Right, these are big names, big analysts. Citibank even said that around the end of the year 2021, it might even hit around $300,000 per Bitcoin. Right, so a lot of people had high hopes. A lot of people, thought it might follow the same cycle, and if it did, it would hit around 100,000. And if it had a super cycle, it might even hit around 300,000. Right, and it was getting up there. It had a jump all the way up to 69,000. That was going on, like I said, right around the 18 months after that third halving event, which was November 2021. It hit 69,000, but it didn't really go above that. It started basically crashing right after that. Right, so there's a lot of reasons.
But even the new lows are higher. So it's kind of like
100%.
Higher highs,
higher lows,
higher
right?
lows.
You can definitely say that, right?
Yeah,
but you know, the topic,
soon.
like the main point that I wanted to get into is the fact that, you know, the market is the market. Whether or not the fundamentals point to a price going up there, the market is determined by different powers and factors, right? You know, over here, based on my analysis and research, it hit 69,000, started tumbling down after that, and didn't really go any higher after that. And one of the biggest reasons, based on my research, I found was that, you know, a lot had to do with the Fed, right? And the Fed's announcements, and, you know, the fact that, you know, they were seeing that inflation has hit record highs, which meant that they had to taper their quantitative easing, which basically means that they had to slow down the money printer. Once everybody hears that, everyone gets scared and you know, starts selling and pulling out of the markets.
So it's because of, you know, macroeconomic factors. You know, not that Bitcoin's a scam. That's not why it went down. You know what I mean?
Exactly. I mean, the fact that
it's just shaking off all the retail investors essentially, right? That's what it
whether
is,
it's retail or institutional, it's shaking out a lot of people. It's shaking out people that don't believe in it, right? And
a lot of the people were just waiting for the pump.
I mean, I didn't sell. You know, I didn't get scared when it started dropping from 69 all the way to like 30,000. At the end of the day,
I sold some Ethereum.
Yeah.
But I sold it before the drop.
That's good. That's good. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you.
Now when I buy back, I'm gonna get more Ethereum for the money that
you sold?
Yeah, of course.
Because it's lower now.
It's lower now, exactly.
But who knows? It can go up tomorrow.
It can go up right now.
It can literally go up.
It can go up right now.
It could be going up.
Markets are 24/7.
Right.
Remember
24/7. Right. So, you know, the price is something you could never predict.
Yep.
You can just do as much analysis as you want.
Yeah.
You know, nobody thought Bitcoin was going to be at 30,000 right now. People thought that it would go to like 100 to 300,000 and then maybe have a drop, but still be at like 60, 70,000.
Higher than
how it is now. Right now it's at 30,000. People thought, once it started going down, people thought it might go all the way down to like 20,000, 10,000, right? So
you're saying right now Bitcoin is a good buying opportunity, no financial advice?
In my opinion, yes, it's a great buying opportunity.
Me too.
But you know, let's highlight the fact that, you know, if you're considering buying it, right? You need to, you know, be, you know, like do you see yourself holding it for 10 years or, you know, because if not, then why are you even buying it?
That brings up a great point. We were watching a video on this recently. Do you want to get into that?
Yeah, so you know, Michael Saylor, you know, we mentioned him a little earlier. He says that, you know, if, you know, it's something that comes from Warren Buffett. It's a Warren Buffett quote. You know, if you don't see yourself holding something for 10 years, you shouldn't even hold it for 10 minutes. You're just wasting your time and your money because you're gonna be thinking about the price.
Unless you're a day trader.
Yeah, like that's like we're talking about investing here. We're talking about investing, creating wealth, right? Day trading, you're doing that as an income source. Right.
It's not passive.
Yeah. So we're talking about creating wealth over time, generational wealth.
I definitely believe that. I fuck with that. That's amazing. That's amazing, right? You know, I've never invested and said to myself, you know, I'm gonna buy this now.
I'm gonna flip this in 6 months.
I'm gonna need some money in like 6 months, so I'm gonna buy this now and hopefully it goes up and I'm gonna sell it and I'm gonna use that money for what I need. Like, you know, that's not smart, right? You when you're putting money into investments, you want to hold that stuff. You want to be able to hold it down if it goes through rocky waters, right? You want to be able to hold it down
buy more when it's going through
bear markets.
You know, and like, you know, this podcast shouldn't be like your only, you know, we talked about this in like previous videos that you guys have probably seen already before this comes out, but you know, this shouldn't be your only source. That's basically like, okay, they said, Bitcoin's good, let me go buy it. Like, you guys all have access to YouTube and Google.
This shouldn't be where your research ends. It should be where your research begins.
That's why we want to be the starting point.
We're like a spark.
We don't want to be the last thing that you watch before you buy. You know, but we want to be like one of the things that you watch before you made an informed decision.
So if you guys are driving right now, you're listening to us through your car speakers, or whatever. I want, like, when we talk about Bitcoin, I want you guys to be like, oh my god, I just heard these guys talk about Bitcoin. I'm gonna buy Bitcoin now, right?
That's a lot of people do that.
Exactly. You know, and then then when and it almost always will, when it goes down or when it goes up, you're gonna be like, oh my god, like, yo, what's going on right now? I'm gonna panic sell and shit right now, right?
But look at someone like Vino, like he didn't, you didn't buy it before you knew enough about it. You knew enough about it that you knew you were gonna hold it for a long period of time, right?
Yeah. And you'll never know just enough about, like, you'll know a good amount about it, but you're
constantly learning.
You're constantly learning.
You're learning stuff, more and more things, because you have to basically, in like long-term investing is about, confirming your thesis over and over again over a long period of time, just so like, okay, the reason I bought it is still true. Right. The reason I bought it is still true. Okay, I don't care what the price is. I can sleep well at night.
Exactly.
It's like what Michael Saylor uses a great analogy with buying your home. Right. He's like, I don't buy a house. You don't buy a house that you're gonna thinking, oh, I'm gonna live in this for 3 years and then chop it.
Unless you're a home flipper
in Toronto or whatever, right?
Toronto,
But like ideally, the average person, you buy a house because you want to live it for the rest of your life. You want to retire there. Right. You're not gonna thinking about the price of the house, if it's going up and down, up and down, up and down. Oh, I'm buying this house because I want to make money. In Toronto, that's the reality. But on average, in the entire world, that's not the norm, right?
You're just exploring a little bit deeper into that home analogy, like you're not gonna buy a house, live in it, have everything all set up, made the way you want, and then like when you find out that the real estate market is crashing, you're not gonna be like, oh my god, I'm gonna sell my house right now.
Exactly.
Right? You're gonna be like, okay, fuck, this is a pretty bad time to sell my house right now. Let me just live in here.
Exactly.
Because you bought you bought the house for the features of the house, right? The lot, the pool, or whatever, the whatever's inside the house that you liked. That's why you bought the house. You didn't buy the house because of the price of the house, right? You bought the house because it's a house.
Or you maybe bought the house because you believed in that.
The real estate long term is a good
real estate appreciation in long term, right? Long term, if you have a good realtor, he'll show you how one, right?
You're not checking the price of your house, every day. Right? How are you gonna sleep at night? Why would you buy it? Right? And
you shouldn't check your portfolio every day either, right? I mean,
that's the thing. When your portfolio drops, if you don't know the basic fundamentals, you don't know what you're invested in. When your portfolio drops, you're gonna have those emotions that's gonna kind of be like, okay, yo, maybe I made a bad choice here, right? Like versus like me, you, and Vino, like we see our portfolio down, but like I guarantee you, all three of us, we're not thinking, oh my god, I lost all my money. We're thinking, bro, everything's on sale right now. Let me cop some more. Let me buy some more. Yeah, exactly. Let me buy some more. I gotta make some more money right now. So I can buy.
If not, something good to do is like, write down why you're buying something before, so you can go back and read that
and remind yourself.
It's
why
like
did I buy it?
Yeah, you need a why. You need a why.
Did I buy it because the price was low and now the price is even lower and now I'm gonna sell? Like,
or did you buy it so you can eventually help save up to buy your dream home, or maybe like whatever it is, right? Like maybe you're investing for a particular reason. You got to remember that why and shit every time you're investing.
Exactly, the why.
Don't lose that why and don't lose that conviction. Right. You should first of all build the conviction before you ever buy investments like this, and then never lose hold of that conviction.
I think because a lot of people now, like, they buy because everyone else is buying it. You know what I mean.
Don't do that shit, because when you don't understand something, you're always gonna be in those treacherous waters and shit, right? And if you don't know your why right now, turn this shit off right now. turn this off right now. Pull over to like some fucking like park or some shit and start meditating and breathing and shit and figure out why you're on this planet. Because that's good. Like you're gonna need that.
Just make sure you start this over again. I'm joking. Okay, so the next milestone I wanted to get into is the first Bitcoin upgrade in 4 years activated Taproot. A highly anticipated upgrade to Bitcoin also went into effect in November. It was Bitcoin's first major upgrade since 2017. Taproot introduced what's called Schnorr signatures, which help Bitcoin transactions become more private and efficient and less expensive. Most important, the upgrade better enables Bitcoin to execute smart contracts or collections of code that carry out a set of instructions on the blockchain.
So Bitcoin can do has smart contracts just like Ethereum?
Yes. Okay. Right. So it's not just a payments network. There's still a lot to Bitcoin, and there's something called a Lightning network that even I don't know too much about. I'm still learning about it. There's a lot to it, right?
Okay. Even the term cryptocurrency is very misleading because it's not really a currency. Like even Bitcoin, I don't even think it'll like sell well as a currency. It's more of like a store of value.
That's the thing, right? Like all these cryptocurrencies,
they all have their own
off as digital currencies because it is a currency that you can exchange. Yes, but really, the key thing behind these cryptocurrencies is that it's a digital technology.
Yeah, it has like a set purpose, or has like an evolving
case.
Yeah, it has like an evolving. Sometimes it might be a platform. Sometimes it might be like a technology.
Exactly.
Like for example,
I think that's important. Like,
yes,
we're talking about utility of stuff, right?
Yes.
Of things, of Bitcoin, of different things, right? Like when you invest in something, like the main thing, like one of the main things you look at is what is the purpose of it?
What is the purpose?
What is the purpose of the thing that I'm buying?
Yeah.
Because like if you just buy it for no reason and it goes down, you're like, okay, I guess it's useless.
You're gambling, essentially,
right?
Gambling,
if you think of what is the purpose, like, okay, that makes sense. In the future, that would be something that would be useful.
Like even when you're like even you're investing in a stock, it's the same way. Like you want to make sure that the company that you're investing in makes sense. That it makes
is that company going to be useful in 5 years, in 10 years?
Exactly, right? You don't want to just buy into a company because like, oh, the price is going to go up and shit. Like, it's going to go up, but like, it's also going to crash too eventually when like just like like there's a lot of stocks in crypto like that have no real true purpose, or it's been overhyped and it always crashes at the end of the day, right?
For example, meme coins, right? I personally don't buy meme coins. If you want to buy it, go ahead, but I would advise you guys. Okay, I'm not gonna say that actually. I don't really buy meme coins.
In your opinion?
In my opinion,
say whatever you want, bro.
Yeah, in my opinion, it's not that smart to buy meme coins because they don't have a use case. It's just for fun, right? So stay away from hype. Those kind of things.
Why do you know why Elon Musk is so big on like I think is it Shiba?
Doge. He's big on Doge. I mean, Shiba Inu. I think literally one of the biggest use cases for Doge, it's also a payments network. And it can process like way more payments than Bitcoin. Okay, wow.
So he's just comparing the two. That's it. Yeah, in that one use case, which is payments, right? And Bitcoin, like, yes, it does payments, but bigger than that, Bitcoin's major use case and value proposition is that it's a store of value and a hedge against inflation, more than the payments. People still use it for payments, but the biggest use case is a hedge against inflation and a store of value. Yeah. Right. Like, so, how I think about it, it's not financial advice, but it's like we mentioned it so many times, it's a hedge against inflation. It's a hedge against inflation. Even in previous videos, we talked about inflation and we talked about Bitcoin being a hedge against inflation. If you find, like, we want you to obviously understand what inflation is. Once you finally understand it and you start to, be like, oh, this is a serious thing. I can't see it on my bank statement, but it's a thing that exists that no one wants to know about. You guys can see what inflation is by clicking this box right above our heads right here. If you click that link, you can see what inflation means. And we also have a link to the inflation video down in the bio below. Oh, yeah. So, if you understand what inflation is and you want to do something to protect yourself against inflation, well, Bitcoin exists. Yeah, that's all I'm saying. Yeah, I'm not saying buy it. It's a very viable and amazing option. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Among other things, it's it's what gold used to be, right? I think it's what gold was. I think it's a better gold, but gold. It's what gold was before. It's like it's in terms of a hedge against inflation. It's what gold was before Bitcoin existed, right? Like everybody ran to gold during inflationary times, right? And now it's like you have Bitcoin, which is it's like gold, but it has utility. Yeah, right. I feel like even the growth of Bitcoin versus gold is probably like way more exponential, right? Oh yeah. Bitcoin is the most scarce asset in the entire world. That's crazy. That's right. Can you say that one more time for the people in the back? Bitcoin is the most scarce asset in the entire world. I mean, come on, guys. Like, wait. So, okay. When you say asset, I guess like it's not resource, right? So it's asset. It's an asset, right? So, it's like, it's scarce. Yeah. It's scarce as in, when they look at how much the demand is versus the supply of it, they can come up with its scarcity values, and based on that, it's the most scarce asset in the world. Right, so it's definitely something do you want to own? Do you want to own a piece of the most scarce asset in the world? I mean, I don't know. I definitely basic economics says you should. Yeah. So the next milestone I want to get into is 90% of the total Bitcoin supply has been mined as of December 2021. So it hit that 90%, right, in that month of December 2021. Which is pretty crazy. 90% of the total supply, which is 21 million Bitcoins, right? Pretty crazy. And it's crazy because
when you look at the halving and everything like that, the remainder is not expected to be mined until February 2140.
Wow.
2140.
2140.
Literally like 5 years after the after Carl Schwab wants you to own nothing and you'll be happy, right?
No. That's 2030.
That's 2035.
That's 2035. Mm-hmm. This is 2140.
Oh, 2140.
Yes,
okay, never mind.
yes.
So
this is like this is like
are we gonna be here?
Yeah,
it's like 120.
I don't think we're gonna
118 years.
Unless like they find some new technology that allows us to live longer.
And you might ask, how does that make sense? Yeah. There's 19, a million bitcoins have been mined. There's only about 2 million more bitcoins that need to be mined. How come it's taking 140 years to mine the rest when it only took 13 years to mine 90%? It's because of the code. It's because of the halving.
It's going to get harder and harder.
It's going to get harder and harder. The supply is going to be cut in half every 4 years.
It's crazy to think about and learn about this stuff. I love learning about this. Very cool
technology. Yeah.
It's pretty insane how this guy made this.
Mm-hmm.
Satoshi Nakamoto, if that's your real name, maybe your name is really Sangusin. I know you're out there. I don't believe that you're dead. Please come back online and teach us more.
Lead us,
please.
Okay, so next one. Bitcoin's hash rate hit an all-time high. On January 2nd of 2022, Bitcoin's hash rate, while in the midst of a crazy crash, hit an all-time high of 203.5 exahashes per second.
What is a hash rate?
So hash rate is basically kind of the rate of mining, right? Based on how many miners and nodes are up and active in that moment of time.
So you think less people are mining for Bitcoin right now because of the change?
So if the Bitcoin's hash rate hit an all-time high, that means
more people
never
mining.
been. Yeah, there's more people mining
for
it.
Even through the halving point, there's still more people mining for Bitcoin right now.
Yeah, not really only through the halving, but like even in the midst of a crazy crash, hash rate is going up.
Yeah, so
hash rate going up is usually
an indicator that more people believe in Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's usually correlated with price going up. Right. So the fact that it's going down while the hash rate's going up, in my opinion, shows us that you don't really need to be scared. There's still a lot of people investing in mining Bitcoin because they believe in the future of Bitcoin. They wouldn't spend millions and millions of dollars mining this, setting hash rate records if Bitcoin wasn't going to be higher in 5, 10, 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And I feel like the larger the number comes, a larger number goes, you're gonna see more and more media coverage and all that shit with about Bitcoin and stuff and all that stuff.
I'm gonna go into like the media and the world's views on Bitcoin in the next episode. A lot of interesting stuff to go over.
Okay.
Looking forward to that.
But at this point, guys, that is the end of this episode. We hope you guys learned a lot about Bitcoin. We hope you guys learned a lot about cryptocurrencies in general and Bitcoin in specific, and the technology behind Bitcoin and the power behind Bitcoin and
I sure did.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed, and let us know if you guys want to hear more. If you guys want me to go more into mining or anything like that, just let me know. We got you guys.
Click us out on YouTube. Go to our comment section. Let us know if you have any questions or any concerns. And
we're gonna put a lot of we're gonna put the resources that Vino uses to look up the YouTube channels he goes to, so that you don't have to just use this podcast. You can go to the other creators, the other experts.
I would be happy to share that with you guys.
You know what I mean? And it's all for free, just just so that the information gets out there, right?
Because once again, this is the biggest wealth transfer in human history.
We don't want you to miss it.
You don't want to miss out.
You do not want to miss out. Exactly. The biggest names in the world are diving in right now.
Exactly.
In my opinion, you guys should dive in.
Just don't be that 40-year-old man in the change room that goes, "Yo, I missed out." Nobody likes that guy. Nobody likes that guy.
It's not that they don't like him. It's it's sad.
Nah, fuck that. Nobody likes that guy. But you know what everybody likes.
He could still be a good guy. It's just he did not make the right choices.
100%. Right. But now his rest of his life he's gonna talk about how he missed Bitcoin.
You know why he didn't why he missed out?
Why?
He didn't know that wealth was possible.
That's just ended right there, guys.
End it right there. Make sure you guys like, subscribe, share the podcast. Hit the bell notification button if you guys are subscribing on YouTube. You guys can actually click the bell notification on Spotify. I actually saw that today too. So when the more you guys do that, the more you help us grow. The more we grow, the more episodes we could pump out for you.
More free information we put out there for you.
Exactly.
More research we do.
Yeah, exactly. The more time we can dedicate to this, more time we can research, more time we can get richer, more time you can get richer, more time we can all get richer, more time we can all boom together, my friends.
I'm gonna do my best to do more research on cryptocurrencies and bring that value to you guys. So hit us up, guys.
Yeah. Right. There you go.
Thank you.